What's up guys, welcome to Bake It with AJ. I'm AJ and today we have a very special pie for someone I flew with not too long ago. So I am a flight attendant in case you didn't know that. I'm not gonna get into that, but somebody I had on my crew was just one of those genuinely good people that you're like, wow, I wanna be around you more. Her favorite dessert's Butterscotch Meringue Pie. So I decided to write my own recipe in dedication of her. Melissa, this is for you. The recipe can be found using the link in the description. Be sure to hit that subscribe button and that notification bell so you can join me every Wednesday for new episodes of Bake It with AJ. Now, most importantly here, we need a crust for this pie. So this is my very basic pie crust recipe. The link for the recipe is in the description. So go ahead and check that out if you want to make that. So for that filling, I have 2 1/4 cups of whole milk with 1 cup of heavy cream that I have been heating on the stove over medium heat until it comes to a simmer. Once it reaches the simmer point, we're gonna go ahead and turn it off just so it doesn't burn. And now in this skillet here, I have 6 tablespoons of unsalted butter that I have melted. And once it is all the way melted, we're adding 1 1/4 cups of light brown sugar that is firmly packed. We're going to cook this over medium heat until it basically forms a caramel. You'll notice when it is ready because you will smell the delicious rich aroma of the sugar caramelizing, and you shouldn't see any granules of sugar left in there. Once it is at this point, while constantly whisking, we are going to pour this caramel into the hot milk and cream mixture, and it should heat up and dissolve all the way. If it does not, you can pass it through a sieve to get out any bits that didn't want to incorporate because they weren't having a good day and wanted to ruin yours too. So after your cream and caramel are nice and combined, here in a separate bowl, I have 3 large room temperature egg yolks that I am going to combine with a 1/2 teaspoon of salt and a 1/4 cup of cornstarch. You do not want to do this ahead of time. You want to do this right before we start adding the cream to it because the salt and the cornstarch will like solidify the egg yolks and it will not be pretty. So make sure you save this for just at the last minute. And once those are whisked together, we are going to very carefully, while constantly whisking, pour in about 1/3 of the hot milk and cream mixture. Again, while constantly whisking so that we can gently bring up the temperature of the egg yolks without cooking them. And then we're going to slowly, while constantly whisking, pour that heated egg yolk and milk mixture back into the pot with the rest of the cream and caramel. And we're going to cook this on a medium-low heat, whisking not constantly but frequently until the mixture comes to a boil and it'll thicken really, really nicely. You should be able to see streaks that a whisk will make in the cream once it is thick enough. After your custard is nice and thick on the stove, we're gonna go in with 3 tablespoons of scotch. Now, I am actually using bourbon that I made vanilla extract out of. I'm very extra, so you do not have to do this the way I did. Butterscotch, obviously there's butter and there's scotch. So 3 tablespoons of Scotch whiskey in there. And then off the heat, we are going to be adding about 2 teaspoons of vanilla extract. Now we're going to pour this beautiful, luscious cream into our prepared pie crust and set that aside while we make the meringue, which is very, very simple. In a bowl, I have about 5 large room temperature egg whites, which gives me about 3/4 of a cup worth. Then I am mixing with a 1/2 teaspoon of cream of tartar, and we're going to whisk this with our hand mixer on a high speed until we get nice, stiff, foamy peaks. Once we have reached that state, we're going to slowly pour in 3/4 of a cup of granulated sugar while mixing and slowly sprinkling it in because we don't want to weigh down the egg whites, otherwise they won't beat up quite as nicely. Once your sugar is all added, go ahead and keep beating that sucker on high speed until we get those beautiful, glossy, stiff white peaks that we love about meringue. You'll know it's done when you can take your whisk out of the egg whites and they stand up with confidence like we do when we bake something really nicely. So we're gonna take this meringue and spread it all over the pie. Use all of that meringue, do not leave any in the bowl, and make sure the meringue touches the complete edge of the pie crust. This will help prevent what's called weeping when the egg whites may release a little bit of liquid while they're cooling or baking. No big deal, it happens, but if you just make sure the meringue is touching the crust all the way around, it can help prevent that. So once our meringue is all nicely spread on our pie, I'm gonna use a spoon to make little divots and give it all kinds of great texture that will help catch a lot of golden brown color and make it a little more visually appealing. This is going to go into a 325-degree oven for about 10 to 20 minutes, anywhere in between that, until your meringue starts to get nicely golden brown. Now, if you have a kitchen torch, I would strongly recommend using it here and emphasizing those curls and peaks that we made with the spoon so that those get really nice dark and golden brown for a lot of contrast and color. It really makes this pie show-stopping and exciting to look at and to eat. So once our pie is done with the meringue all nicely toasted, it's gonna go uncovered in a refrigerator for a minimum of 2 hours, but overnight is preferred just because that filling does need to set up all the way. And once it does, this pie slice is absolutely beautiful. It is incredibly delicious. And these colors are really something to look at. I love meringue pies. I don't make them as much as I should, but they're so good. Once again, the recipe can be found using the link in the description. It takes you to my website where you can find all of my merchandise and links to my other recipes. Thank you guys so much for joining me. Be sure to hit that thumbs up button, leave me some comments down below, and hit that subscribe button. I hope you have a great rest of your day, and I'll see you next time. Someone texted me asking if they could have this pie. Like, it's all yours. I had my slice, I'm good.